The state of Tamil Nadu, a state which actually boasted about being a manufacturing state, has definitely suffered largely due to the COVID-19 lockdown. In fact, the state has been under lockdown for several months and many apparently have lost their livelihood. A survey that was conducted by Madras Institute of Development Science, which was actually commissioned by the state government, has now shown that 53% of households in the state of Tamil Nadu have lost their livelihood. In fact, this survey sample is 10,031 across the state, and they have done the survey with parameters and questions over the phone, and they have collected the data. And MIDS is very clearly saying that is actually definitely showing the kind of struggle the people are going through. For instance, you can see this area. This is actually in Marina Beach, where a minimum of 5,000 such shops, floating shops, are open at all time. And this was closed back in March, and until now it's not been opened. Many families were surviving on such shops, and what happened to them, nobody exactly knows. There are 500 such shops in these areas, and a minimum of 5,000 people were actually dependent on it. And what happened to their livelihood, actually this survey is bringing out very clearly. The survey mentions that 56% of households in rural areas have been hit by the lockdown. They have lost their livelihood, and 50% of households in urban areas have lost their livelihood, and they are struggling very badly. This survey was actually constituted to get adequate data and make sure it will help the Tamil Nadu government in going ahead and formulating proper policy decisions. Not just that, the survey also mentions that of the 53%, 83.3% were casual laborers, which means like contract laborers, day wagers, who could be painters, who could be various other people, farm help. They have completely lost their livelihood, and 13.3% were of salaried class who were working in private sector, who also lost their livelihood. This actually, we are talking about loss of livelihood and not a job pay cut. That entirely is a different one. MIDS says that this finding is very important because it is actually reflecting the struggle of the people in the state of Tamil Nadu. This is going to be a three-part survey. First one, which was between March and May, they have found out all this information. Then we'll have one at October, and the one at next year, 2021, to actually formulate a plan for the state government. However, another very gruesome matter in this issue is that they've also found out that the actual net pay has also decreased quite evidently. For instance, in rural areas, it has gone down from 11,000 to 6,000 plus. And in urban areas, it has gone down from 17,000 to 11,000 plus. All these findings we did put forward in front of the Tamil Nadu government, and we approached the Minister Jayakumar. He said that they are looking into the matter. In fact, they have also constituted a committee with a retired Reserve Bank officer, and not just that, they are trying to formulate various policy decisions. But the request from the people's behest is that the state should react immediately, because almost for 4 months they have suffered and they cannot progress any further. With camera person Vijay Shekhar from Madras for Mirana.